You've got it tuned to KEXP. We're listener-powered radio at 90.3 FM in Seattle, 92.7 FM in the Bay Area, at KEXP.org, and on the KEXP mobile app. I'm Cheryl Waters here in the KEXP studios with an artist that we've known since she was just a baby. We've loved her for a very long time, and we are so excited to have her and her fabulous band here celebrating the release of her fourth album, For Melancholy Brunettes and Sad Women. It's Japanese Breakfast, live on KEXP. Welcome back.
You be faithful.
Yowza. That is Japanese Breakfast live on KEXP from the new album For Melancholy Brunettes and Sad Women. You're listening to Japanese Breakfast live on KEXP. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks to everyone who supports KEXP. You can learn more about us online at kexp.org. We are supported by listeners. You can make a gift anytime.
The shuffle only cries on Facebook. This baby's on the verge of, but she lost him in motion.
It's such a pleasure to have Japanese Breakfast live on KEXP. For Melancholy Brunettes and Sad Women is their new album out on Dead Oceans. Japanese Breakfast live on KEXP. Oh my goodness, that sounded amazing. Thank you so, so much. And that last one is from the movie Materialists.
That's right.
Such a fun one. It is always such a pleasure to have you come by and to share your music with our listeners. Thank you so much. That was incredible. And you have been in nonstop motion since you were last here in person at KEXP, and you were so generous to do a live at home session during COVID lockdown, so we were able to get some live songs from Jubilee. We appreciate that. And we are so happy to hear these songs. I have been waiting and waiting to be able to hear songs from this new record live. And Jubilee was so big and colorful and euphoric, and for Melancholy Brunettes and Sad Women is a little bit of a vibe shift, I would say, a little bit more intimate, and you've described it as a less obvious record and kind of a slow burn. And I remember you initially wanted Soft Sounds to be a sci-fi record. And I read that you wanted this album to be a creepy album, and then like a couple of songs in, you couldn't conjure up enough creep. So what did you conjure up for this record?
Yeah, I think a lot of times I have a big, very restrictive idea that is enticing to me that I think is kind of in response to the one that came before it. I think because Psychopomp was such a vulnerable, personal album about losing my mom, I had wanted to follow it up with a sci-fi concept record to really remove it from my life. And in the process of writing that record, realized I wasn't ready to not explore this really tremendous thing that happened. And so I think a lot of the songs morphed into songs about these kind of disassociative, almost in space type feelings, and the theme sort of broadened. And I think similarly, after touring an album about joy and sort of giving myself permission to feel joy after writing so many songs about grief, I kind of wanted to return to being really moody and dark again. And so I wanted to make a creepy album initially because it seemed like a really interesting challenge and sonic palette that was quite different from Jubilee. But in the process of writing it, I kind of started uncovering more of just what intuitively I think I wanted to explore, which was a melancholic side of myself. I think something about the age I was and the experiences I was having and the things that I was thinking about in my future made me want to make something that was a bit more delicate and contemplative and just darker and moodier.
You've said that the lyrics on this album are some of the best you've written. Tell me about that, and where did you go for inspiration?
Yeah, I think, I think of the fourth album very much as the artist's record. It's, for me, a record that feels like it's allowed to be a little bit difficult. And I think, it wasn't as important to me to have really catchy, big choruses. I wanted to really flex as a writer, and maybe part of that came from coming out with the book and feeling really validated by that experience. And so, yeah, I was reading a lot, and I felt like I really got to kind of flex the pen a bit for this one.
The last song on the album, Magic Mountain, I'd love to hear a little bit about that. I understand that it became a personal song. It references both your health, and I understand it's Peter's favorite book.
Yeah, it's Peter's favorite book. It's Peter's favorite book, and I read it when we were in Switzerland. And I originally thought that I could just Kate Bush it and do what she did with Wuthering Heights and just summarize this really beautiful book about this man who goes to visit his cousin in a sanatorium in Switzerland and winds up staying for 7 years. And then it became a much more personal song. I think for me, touring sort of felt like this sanatorium where it's this place where you're sort of living outside of real time and the world is kind of moving on without you. And it feels both sacred and unhealthy at times. And you're not sure if you're healing through it or dying because of it. And I think that song became really reflective of what is the future look like with this path that I love so dearly, but also need to be cautious isn't all consuming, and that I lose track of reality in this sort of fantasy world that's both such a privilege to be a part of, but also very different from regular life.
Well, this is your fourth album as Japanese Breakfast, and the first that you recorded in a proper studio, which I don't know if I've actually knew that or realized that, or if I did, I don't remember it. And you did it at the venerable Sound City Studios in Los Angeles, and you worked with the esteemed producer Blake Mills. What was it like working at Sound City with Blake?
It was amazing. I feel bad because, we did soft sounds at Craig's studio and a lot of Jubilee at Craig's studio.
I know, that's why I say
it's a real esteemed studio as well. But, it's also a cold warehouse. There's like no heating and, at least there was that. And also, yeah, there's heating now. But now
that's why I say
Sound City, look out.
That's why I say I don't know if I remember to realize that, because I think those albums sound amazing.
Yeah,
and
I think
so
they
much
sound amazing too.
Been made in the press about this being the first proper studio, and I'm like, really? I don't know if that. I think I believe that.
Yeah, I think it was just like there weren't, many records have been made there that many people know about. What makes a real studio? It's a known studio in that sense, and it was a producer that I feel like when Craig and I made records together, I think it was almost like we were two directors working on a record together. And I almost felt like for this record, I was like the actor and the writer, and Blake kind of took the role as the director. And it was the first time I really let someone in to sort of like push the vision, to direct the vision more. Whereas when Craig and I made the last two records, it was us sort of figuring it out together and responding to what direction we wanted to take it.
Well, your memoir, Crying in H Mart, came out in 2021, and that was right before Jubilee. They came out sort of in tandem, and you spent, it was on the top of the New York Times chart for way over a year, and in addition to 2 years of nonstop touring and promotion, what followed was an outpouring of well-earned opportunities and experiences, and you just weren't able to say no to those. And it really took a toll on your health, and you'd long wanted to spend some time in Korea, and it was hard for you to ask the band for that time off, but they all were for it, and you did eventually take that time off. What were your expectations of what that time would be like, and what actually came out of it?
Yeah, I was very nervous that I was going to be incredibly bored and very lonely. And I was so engaged and full of social opportunity. I made so many great friends, and it was a much-needed healing year off. And I don't think I really understood the benefits of taking that year off until this year when, ironically, when I was touring an album about joy, I was rather miserable. And now that I'm touring an album about melancholy, I feel quite happy and joyful. So I think it allowed me to kind of step away from the grind and return to it and really get to enjoy that experience. And also I learned a lot of Korean. I got to attend school again, which I think everyone has that sort of fantasy as a grown adult of like what kind of student you'd be if you returned. And yeah, it was just, I ate a lot of really great food, and it was a really wonderful time.
Well, congratulations on the new record. It sounds like you made exactly the record that you wanted to, and that you're very happy and excited to be back out on the road with this band that you love and playing the guitar, which you're so wonderful at, and you all sound amazing.
Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. It's Japanese Breakfast live on KEXP, and thank you so much to all of our wonderful listeners. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll let you know every time we launch a wonderful new video. Again, Japanese Breakfast live on KEXP.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.